Today, we travel through Great Britain, visiting the scenes of great mysteries while solving one of our own. That is how I feel whenever I read one of Emma Deacon's A British Mystery Book Tour series novels. Join me as we chat with Emma about her latest work. Welcome to Blackbird Writers Presents Author Interviews. I'm Sharon Lynn, and welcome to you, Emma.
Thanks very much. It's lovely to be here.
I'm so glad you could make it. So I do just kind of want to jump right into the series. It's so wonderful from two different directions because on the one hand, I would really love to take a book mystery tour, and then also they're just super fun to read. So, what inspired you to do mystery book tours as opposed to just like a regular tour guide?
Well, I read all kinds of British mysteries, and I thought it would be fun to incorporate the books I read, the ones I really like, into the story. And I thought that readers would enjoy either recognizing old friends in those books or finding new reads in the books. And so I did that at the very first book, and it worked really well. So I I continue. So it just seemed like a great, something I'd love to do myself. As you said, I'd love to take that tour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you do get that little. It's like, I think read a couple of them, and one of them you talk about Rebecca Daphne Moray,
Oh yeah,
and I'm like,
Cornwall.
"Woo."
That Cornwall. I've been to her
It's like,
house.
be careful on
Yeah,
the cliffs, you know. Yeah, it was very fun.
that's the other benefit. You can get to those places. Like I've been to the ferry pub right across the road from where she lived, and and so it's an excuse to go to all these places to do the research.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is wonderful. So when you go, do you rent a car and drive to these places, or do you take tours?
On the left-hand side of the road? No.
I never have. That's why I was asking. I'm like, are you
Oh,
braver than I am? Because I
no.
don't I don't
I take the
drive.
trains mostly. I take the trains usually. And I usually get a place right in the middle of where I want to be. And then I can walk to almost everything. So, and then I take cabs. So England's really good that way. You can get around. And if you live in England and you're over 65, you don't even pay for the trains.
No, that's
I
awesome.
pay because I'm Canadian. But if I met someone in Cornwall who said she never traveled much, but now that she could do it for free, she was going all over England.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, we don't have the trains or the program.
The trains are great. I love the trains there. They stop when they're supposed to. They go, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So do you pick an area and then find mystery books that were set there, or
Yes.
the other way around?
No, I pick the area. And then I find, well, I usually know some of the books that are set there to start with because my reading is pretty extensive in this genre. So I usually know a couple and then I start looking for more. And sometimes I push the genre. It's not all traditional mysteries that I recommend or I talk about in the book. Like some of the tours that come on Claire's trips are like thrillers more than they like traditional. So I include some of those,
Yeah.
especially when I took them to Edinburgh. I think I did more of the thrillers there because Ian Rankin's from Edinburgh, and there's others that they
And you're
talk
not
about.
going to not talk about Ian.
Yeah.
In Shadows in Sussex, you described one of the hotels as being old enough to satisfy North American tourists as romantic, but not decrepit. And I'm just wondering if you have ever been in one of those places where from the outside you were like, oh, and from the inside it was like, oh,
Well, I stayed in the Mermaid Hotel in Rye, and that is charming both inside and out. But you do have to. It's not at all decrepit, but it's wonky. Like the floors go all over the place, and you have to really stabilize yourself to get through the hallways. And things are a little peculiar and not where you expect them to be. So is charming in that way and a little different, but I never really stayed in anything decrepit. So I can't answer that one. We should go on a tour and find out sometime.
Well, I
But I
did
haven't.
a walking tour in the Cotswolds, and one of our places we were supposed to stay was in Tormarton. And when you've never been there and you're just getting materials from the tour place, you can't tell. And really, Tormarton is just a crossroads with this beautiful, beautiful cottage looking thing from the outside. That was not good on the inside.
Oh, wow.
And and it was okay because we had been walking for miles and we were tired. But and there, I mean, I think the part of the hotel that was the original part was really still quite lovely. Like the dining room area was really nice. But we were like, you go through that and then down this sort of this makeshift hall, and then you're attached to this other building that's over this way. And yeah, I don't know when that one was built or what or of what.
Wow. I got to one place in Chichester, I guess, and I missed it. It took me forever to find it. It was not far from the railroad station, but it was actually a bar. You had to go through the bar to register, and then I had to go up like 50 stairs, and it was pretty intimidating. But it was a nice place to stay and surprisingly quiet over the bar. I was impressed, but really, I wasn't expecting to have to lug my suitcase up 50 stairs. And you have to remember in England that the first floor is not the ground floor.
Right.
There's ground floor, first floor. So when they say you're on the third floor, you're really on the fourth, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's a lot of steps to go up. Yeah. All right. So the opening of Shadows in Sussex was just really, really heartbreaking. And it was, a mother discovering her son who had died of an apparent drug overdose. And the Cornwall mystery also had some themes of drugs are bad, which is a good theme to carry on. But I'm just wondering why you choose that particular theme to explore.
My son died of fentanyl overdose.
That would do it.
So I have a very strong compassion for people who have that problem, that disease. And I'm in ways that are maybe subtle sometimes, but constantly there. I do try and point out better ways to do things. We have a system that doesn't respond to that problem, and we lose more people to drugs in my country and yours than we do to anything else in the young people's age. It's epidemic, and we're not treating it like an epidemic. We're treating it like a moral or criminal problem. And so
or something you sweep under the carpet. It's like, no, we don't want to talk about that.
we're having an election here in the end of the week in my province, and one of the parties hasn't even mentioned it. Like it's a huge health problem, and it's not even mentioned. I just like, what are you planning to do? Pretend it's not there, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's why I almost always have something. And most people do know somebody with a problem, so it's not like I'm introducing a problem that's not common. It's common.
No, I've had friends who like that exact same thing has happened to them, and yeah, it is definitely a problem, and definitely something that when you read the books, it is really beautifully balanced because it's you get the pain and the anger and all of those things, but it doesn't overshadow the entire story.
Mm.
You know, like you're reading
Yeah.
a documentary or something.
No,
It's
it's not preachy, I don't think at all.
yeah, no, it's really beautifully done,
Right.
and important. subject.
Right.
Um, so let's just lighten the mood a little, and I want to talk about Gulliver. Um,
Oh, really? Oh,
he's not so much in Shadows in Sussex, but he does make his little appearances, and I love him. And so, tell us your inspiration, who Gulliver is, and your inspiration.
well, I'm sitting here petting my dog, my own dog, but who isn't Gulliver? My dog is what I call a Mexican mix, a rescue dog. Gulliver is a pedigreed King Charles Cavalier Spaniel, and he's about 12 pounds. He's not a big dog, and he has a personality for sure. Yeah, I really quite like Gulliver. Now I named Gulliver, and I say so in the first book that Claire names her dog Gulliver after Simon Brett's dog in his Featherington Mysteries. You know, I think that dog's a lab, but anyway, I love the name, and she names her that Claire names her dog after an imaginary dog. So the name keeps going down. Yeah, I really enjoy Gulliver. And Gulliver is in partly, he's in more, in some books he's more, in some books he's less, but he's still in there.
Yeah, he's still in there because we would miss him
He's
if
a
he was
young
gone
dog, he'll be
entirely.
in there for a while.
Yeah, you can't have him over at the sister's house the whole time. We need to see him.
No, no.
Um, so in Shadows in Sussex, we have tourists that include an English teacher, a drama teacher, a marketing professional, and a group of Indigenous women who are art students who are also wanting to write a mystery. Tell me how you come up with these characters.
Well, I don't know, they just come, you know. And as probably most writers, you have a little bit of somebody you know that you expand and make into a character, or you have an attitude from someone that you know you want in a character. And I have a diverse range of friends, and you know I can see these people. Yeah, I don't know, they just come, right? She's Claire always has to deal with them and how they get along and whether they do or not, and you know, she has to be very diplomatic,
Diplomatic,
and she
definitely.
sometimes doesn't want to be diplomatic.
Well, that's what's so much fun about her is because she's so kind and she makes sure everybody is where they should be. And meanwhile, we're thinking, can we just throttle him? And
Yes,
and
yes,
she's thinking it too, but she never breaks, the lovely tour guide persona. So she's very much fun
yeah,
to spend time with
yeah.
that way.
Yeah, I enjoy her. Yeah, Richard, you want to toss him? Yeah,
Just
yeah. No, but have you ever been on a tour with someone like that? I've
no,
been.
I haven't. And it's the one thing that makes me really reticent to do a smaller tour like that. We were talking about earlier when my husband and I did a whiskey tasting tour in Scotland. Fortunately, everybody was really nice and kind on that. But I'm like, geez, I'd be trapped with these people for days if,
I know. I
one
know.
was a bit nasty, so I was glad nobody was. Um, However, I do have a very strong background in theater, um, and so
You've done well on this trip. Yeah.
and, yeah, and yeah, so I've definitely met the Richard types. Definitely worked with the Richard types.
Well, that's good that he seems credible to you then.
Oh, completely. Oh, yes.
So he'll be fine in life. He's so self-absorbed. I just read a quote by Jane Austen that said, "You have to forgive selfish people because they'll never change." So I thought, oh, here's a thought.
Because they don't know.
Yeah, they don't know, they don't care either. Yeah.
So when you are out touring, what is your favorite kind? Do you do like group tours? Do you do walking tours, bus tours? What do you do when you're researching?
Well, I have successfully done different ones. Like I did a tour with my friend down the eastern side of England, from Edinburgh to London, but all through the Peak District as well, and Cambridge and Oxfordshire and in that area, and Lincolnshire. And that was with, I think there were 9 of us, and that was a lot of fun. That was great. And they also, I was researching at the time perils in Yorkshire, and I wanted to go to Ralph's Cross, and it wasn't on the tour when we were going over the moors. And so I finally decided I'd let them know I was an author doing research, because I hadn't wanted to let anybody know, somehow thought that they would be, I don't know, intrusive or something. Anyway, I finally let the tour guide know that I really wanted to go to Ralph's Cross and couldn't put it to the people that I'd like to go. So then I had to tell them why. And I said, well, I put a body here and I don't know where to hide it. And so they diverted to Ralph's Cross, and they got all piled out, and everybody was looking for a place. And there was, Marion, over here, there's well, they call me Marion or Emma. Over here, there's a good place here. And we got all into it. It was loads of fun. So after that, it was easy to research. I just did it above board, let everybody know what I was doing. So, and
Just
then it
suddenly
turns out
got
that now,
8 research assistants. So,
yeah. Now if you look up that tour, they go to Ralph's Cross,
oh, that's
and they probably
and they
tell the
probably talk
story.
about you.
Yeah, they probably do. But I've also gone by myself last couple weeks ago, or last week. I just got back from 2 weeks on my own, and I can do that too. And then I'm usually, this time I had a lot of pointed research to do, both a fiction and a nonfiction I was researching. So I was busy at getting information. So I was just going from place to place to get the information. But I've also gone on a tour where there were only, as I was telling you, there were only another couple, two other people with us. And it was great. It was fun. Yeah. And then I did that one, I did half and half. I did 6 days on a tour, and then I did 10 days on my own. And that's when I did the research for Storms in the Cotswolds, which just came out in September. And that one I stayed in Cirencester for quite a while. I really like, you like that city? I just love that city.
We're going next September, and that's one of my stops because
Oh, it's wonderful.
my main character is all about she's an archaeology student
Yeah, I know her.
doing the Roman baths, and so yeah, she needs to be there at some point.
But she's younger. She can get around on bikes and things.
Yeah. So we need to go there, and then Cheltenham.
Oh yes, right. Yeah.
We're gonna go there again because she's gonna have a croquet involved.
Well, there's lots of archaeology in that area, so she
Yeah.
should, like my character in Cirencester, she's looking for stuff in the Roman ruin. One of the characters on the tour is looking for what's it called? It starts with G, and it's what the Romans high class people use, very expensive material made from clamshell. The film went from clamshells or something, and they wove with it.
Oh wow.
You have to look for that. Yeah, it's really, the Roman ruins are really interesting there. Yeah, it's quite, you know,
I need to go there so that Maddie can go there next.
yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes it a
And
lot better
sometimes,
when we actually know what we're looking at.
well, and you, I don't know if you mentioned it in your book, but I'm always impressed with, like, if something lasts 50 years here, my house, and I get a plumber, people think I've had a really good run. But those Roman irrigation systems and steam heat and all that still running after 2,000 years.
2,000 years, yeah.
Yeah.
The Roman baths and bath have backed up once, and it was because of work the city did in 1980, and it still didn't even back up until 1996, and they finally just took that work away and restored the Roman, and it's fine. Fine. Yeah.
Wow.
It is just amazing to look
I
at.
was wrong somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, so what is next for Claire? You said you have the Cotswolds that came out in September,
That did.
and what's
So
next?
now Claire is going back to Hampshire because Mark um, has been informed that he's a father of a 10-year-old
Oh my,
whose, whose mother just died.
oh my.
So life is changing for those two.
God, that is a big
Still,
change.
yeah, she still wants her business, but this little bombshell is just making things different. And then, of course, there's a murder, and yeah. But it's in her village this time in Ashton on Tinch, which I totally made up. Uh,
And
so
then
somebody told me,
you write as Emma Deacon, but you also write as Marion Crook. So
right.
what's next for
Well,
Marion?
I write mostly nonfiction as either Marion Crook or Marion McKinnon Crook. And I'm actually a bestseller in England, in Canada, with nonfiction. It's
It's hard to do.
kind of interesting. Anyway, I wrote a, a book called Always Pack a Candle, A Nurse in the Care of Chilcotin. Another one called Always on Call, Adventures in Nursing, Ranching, and Rural Living. And those are doing really well. And I have another book. That was the memoirs. That's what I used to do before I started writing, was be a public health nurse. And now I've got a biography. That's what I was researching in England. So that's the nonfiction. I also have one fiction out under Marion Crook, which is called Murder in Vancouver, 1886, and that just came out in April or May, I guess, of this year. So that's doing very well. And so I kind of keep them separate, like the Emma. I like Emma. I wish I'd been called Emma, so it's nice to be able to choose your own name. And but Marion Crook's doing quite well too. So I keep two going. The next Emma Dakin book. Oh, I told you it was set in Hampshire. Yeah. So that's just in contract stage. So because I had a 6-book contract and now I'm on 7. So we got to redo things here.
All right. So finally, where can our fans find you? Like your social media, webpage, things like that.
Oh yeah, I should have had that on the tip of my tongue. Well, first of all, they can find me on Google pretty easily, and Amazon for sure. But I have a monthly newsletter, and if they find it on Google, fine. But they can email me at mmcrook at telus telus.net. So telus.net. And mmcrook at telus.net will and say they want to be on my newsletter, and then they get, once a month they get an update of what I'm doing. Are you on my newsletter? You are.
I am. It's a fun newsletter.
Yeah. It's not too much. Just if you want more, you can click in, but otherwise you can just skim and yeah, it's not a big read.
Yeah, it's not. Sometimes people send things every week, and I can't do that. I get
I
overwhelmed.
don't even want to read someone every week, right? So I myself, I think, well, once a month is fine. I like to know what they're up to, but I don't want to be, inundated with what
Yeah.
they're up to.
I do
The dog's on. Do what?
I
You,
do mine every 3 week or 3 months. So it's just
yeah,
early. That's
yeah.
mostly because I'm just not very good at them. But
It takes time, and I like to be thoughtful about what people want and not give too much. But if they want more, they can click in. There's usually a highlight that if you want to know more about something, you can click in, because then that means you don't have to don't have to wade through a whole bunch of stuff.
yeah.
But my dog has a little corner, so you can see what she's up to. She has an opinion. She puts it on.
That is awesome.
She's sweet.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today. And thank you, everybody, for watching Blackbird Writers Presents Author Interviews.
Thanks a lot, Sharon. Take care.
Thank you.
And thanks for having me. That was fun.
That
I
was
could natter all day. As they say in Britain, we could natter all day.